My name is Camilla, and I am 31 years old. I am standing outside my apartment building at 2 in the morning. My husband Marcus just changed the locks while I was at the grocery store. My phone wallet and most belongings are still inside. The only thing I have is the clothes I'm wearing and a small pouch hidden in my bra. Inside that pouch is an old metallic card my father gave me 21 years ago. Before I tell you what the bank revealed, drop a comment letting me know where you are watching from today. If you want to see how one old card changed everything, hit like and subscribe. Because the truth I discovered was more shocking than any fiction. Let me take you back to the beginning. I grew up in Phoenix, Arizona, in a small house with peeling paint and a mother who worked too hard and smiled too little. My father's name was David Allen Reyes. He left when I was 10 years old. One morning I woke up and he simply was not there anymore. No goodbye. No explanation. No phone call. No letter. Nothing. My mother Sandra worked as a dental hygienist at a clinic across town. She was always tired, always bitter, always exhausted from trying to keep us afloat on a single income. When I asked about my father, her face would harden like stone. He was a dreamer, she would say. A liar. Always chasing schemes that never worked out. He left us for some other woman, some other life. Good riddance. We do not need him. I was devastated. For months I cried myself to sleep waiting for him to come back. I checked the mailbox every day, hoping for a letter. I jumped every time the phone rang, praying it would be his voice on the other end. But he never called. He never wrote. He never came back. Eventually I accepted my mother's story. My father was a deadbeat who abandoned his family. That was the truth I carried with me for 21 years. But there was one thing I kept from him. One secret I never told anyone, not even my mother. The night before he disappeared, my father came to my room. He sat on the edge of my bed and pressed something into my small hands. It was a metallic card, silver and black, with strange numbers etched into its surface. No bank name, no logo, just numbers. Camila, he said, his voice serious in a way I had never heard before. Keep this safe. Hide it somewhere only you know. Never tell anyone about it, not even your mom. I remember looking up at him confused. What is it, Daddy? He smiled, but there was sadness in his eyes. If you ever need help, he said, really need help, find a bank called Meridian Trust. Show them this card and tell them your name. I was 10 years old. I did not understand, but I promised. And 2 weeks later, he was gone. I hid the card in the stuffing of my teddy bear. I carried that bear through every move, every life change, every milestone. When I got married, I transferred the card to a small waterproof pouch that I wore around my neck, tucked under my clothes close to my heart. People sometimes asked about it. I told them it was a religious medallion. They never questioned further. I searched for Meridian Trust online over the years. I found nothing. The bank did not seem to exist. I assumed it was defunct, or maybe my father made it up. Another one of his schemes that never worked out, but I could not bring myself to throw the card away. It was the only piece of him I had left. Despite my difficult childhood, I worked hard to build a life for myself. I graduated high school near the top of my class. I attended community college while working part-time jobs. I became a medical billing specialist at a hospital in Tucson. It was not glamorous work, but it was stable. It paid the bills. It gave me security. My mother passed away 3 years ago. Lung cancer. She smoked her whole life, even when the doctors begged her to stop. Before she died, she grabbed my hand and repeated her warnings about men. Do not trust them, Camila, she whispered. They all leave eventually. Your father was proof of that. I inherited her small house. I sold it and put the money in savings. About $42,000. My entire safety net. Everything I had worked for. I lived simply after that. I saved carefully. I did not take risks. I was determined to never end up like my mother, bitter and alone, working herself to death for a man who left. Then I met Marcus Webb. It was 2 years ago at the hospital where I worked. He was visiting his sick grandmother in the oncology ward. At least that is what he told me. He was handsome, tall with dark hair and a smile that made me feel like I was the only person in the room. He said he was 35 years old and worked in real estate investments. He pursued me with flowers and expensive dinners and romantic gestures I had only seen in movies. After my mother's death, I was lonely, vulnerable, and Marcus made me feel special, chosen, loved. He was different from other men, I thought. He did not pressure me. He respected my boundaries. He listened when I talked about my childhood, my father, my fears about being abandoned. He proposed after 8 months of dating. I said yes. We had a small wedding at the courthouse. Marcus said big weddings were wasteful. I moved into his apartment in downtown Tucson. I was happy. For the first time in my life, I felt like I had a partner, someone who would stay. The red flags were there from the beginning. I just chose not to see them. He never introduced me to his family. He said they were estranged. His work schedule was erratic and his explanations were vague. He asked me to add his name to my savings account for emergencies. I did it because I trusted him. He asked me to co-sign a business loan. Just temporary, he said. Just paperwork. I did it because wives support their husbands. He offered to handle all our finances. I am better with money, he said. Let me take care of it. I let him because I wanted peace, not conflict. 18 months into our marriage, I started noticing things. The savings account that once held $42,000 now showed a balance of $11. Credit card bills arrived with purchases I never made. Debt collectors called about loans I never signed for. When I asked Marcus about it, he got angry. He accused me of not trusting him. He made me feel guilty for questioning. So I stopped asking. I buried my suspicions. I told myself everything was fine. But everything was not fine. My husband was systematically destroying me, and I had no idea. It was a Tuesday evening in October when my world collapsed. I came home early from work. The hospital had a scheduling error and sent me home at noon. I was tired. I had a headache. I just wanted to take a hot bath and go to sleep. When I reached our apartment door, I noticed it was unlocked. Strange. Marcus was supposed to be at work. I pushed the door open slowly. Voices. Marcus was talking to someone. A male voice I did not recognize. I froze in the hallway. Something told me not to announce myself. Call it instinct. Call it survival. I pressed myself against the wall and listened through the crack in the door. The strange man spoke first. Marcus, the feds are getting close. You need to wrap this up. Marcus sighed. I know. I have already transferred everything I can. Camilla's credit is maxed out. Nothing left to extract. My blood ran cold. I will dump her this week, Marcus continued. Move to the next mark. The other man laughed. What about the identity documents? Already have copies of everything, Marcus said casually. Social Security, birth certificate, passport. I can sell her identity package for at least 15 grand. She will not even know until the collections start calling. I wanted to scream. I wanted to burst through that door and claw his eyes out. But my body would not move. My legs had turned to stone. My hands were shaking so violently I had to press them against the wall to keep from making noise. My husband was a con artist. I was his mark. Everything was a lie. The sick grandmother, the real estate job, the romance, the proposal, the marriage, all of it. A carefully constructed scheme to drain me of everything I had. I forced myself to back away slowly, step by step, inch by inch, until I reached the stairwell. Then I ran. I drove to the public library and used their computer to research my own finances. What I found made me want to vomit. 3 credit cards in my name that I never applied for. Total debt, $38,000. A personal loan taken out using my information, $25,000. The business loan Marcus convinced me to co-sign had defaulted. $62,000 with interest. I was over $125,000 in debt. Debt I never created. debt that would follow me for the rest of my life. I checked my bank account. The savings account I had spent years building showed a balance of $11.37. I sat in that library staring at the screen, trying not to cry. I was ruined. Everything I worked for, everything I saved, everything I believed about my marriage. Gone. But I could not confront him yet. Not without evidence. Not without a plan. So I did something that took every ounce of strength I had. I went home. I looked my husband in the eyes, and I pretended I knew nothing. "Marcus," I said sweetly, "how was your day?" He smiled that charming smile. "Great, babe. How was work?" "Fine," I said. "Just fine." I slept beside him that night, knowing he was planning to destroy me. I could feel his body next to mine, warm and familiar, and all I could think was, "You are a monster." For 5 days I played along. I gathered documentation, screenshots of accounts, recordings of his phone conversations. Arizona is a one-party consent state, which means I could legally record him without his knowledge. I built a case against him, evidence that would prove what he had done. I planned to file a police report on Monday. I just needed to get through the weekend. But Marcus was smarter than I gave him credit for. Friday evening, he told me he was going out with clients. "Do not wait up," he said. "Might be late." I waited until he left, then started packing essentials. A change of clothes, important documents, the recordings I had made. My phone buzzed. A text from Marcus. "I know you were listening Tuesday. Nice try. I changed the locks while you were at the store yesterday. Your stuff is in garbage bags on the curb. Do not bother coming back or calling the cops. I have documents that make you look like the criminal, not me. Try anything, and I will destroy you." I drove home as fast as I could. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely grip the steering wheel. When I arrived, the locks had been changed. My key did not work. My belongings were scattered across the front lawn in torn garbage bags. Neighbors watched from their windows. My purse was inside. My phone was inside. My wallet was inside. Everything was inside. I had nothing. I sat in my car at 2 a.m, shaking and crying. No phone, no money, no identification, no family, no friends who could help me. Nothing. Then I remembered. The card. My hand went to my chest, to the small pouch I always wore. Still there. Still safe. My father's voice echoed from 21 years ago. "If you ever need help, really need help, find a bank called Meridian Trust." This certainly qualified as really needing help. Tomorrow I decided. Tomorrow I would find this bank. If it even existed. I had nothing left to lose. I slept in my car that night, parked in the corner of a Walmart lot where the security cameras could see me. I did not sleep well. Every noise made me jump. Every shadow looked like Marcus coming to finish what he started. When the sun rose, I went inside Walmart to use the bathroom. I washed my face with hand soap and tried to make myself look presentable. I failed. My eyes were red and puffy. My clothes were wrinkled. My hair was a tangled mess. The library opened at 9. I was waiting at the door when they unlocked it. I searched for Meridian Trust Bank on the public computer. Nothing. Same results I had gotten for years. The bank did not exist. But this time I tried a different approach. I added private wealth to my search terms. And suddenly I found something. A mention on an obscure financial forum. Someone asking about exclusive banking services for ultra-high net worth individuals. Meridian Trust Private Advisors, one commenter wrote. Invitation only. You need a referral or a legacy access card to even get in the door. Legacy access card. My heart started pounding. I scrolled further. Found another mention. Meridian Trust was headquartered in San Francisco. But there was a regional office in Scottsdale, Arizona. Scottsdale was 2 hours from Tucson. I had a car. I had a quarter tank of gas. It would have to be enough. The drive through the Arizona desert felt like a dream. My mind raced the entire time. What if the card was expired? What if they turned me away? What if this was another dead end? But what choice did I have? I arrived in Scottsdale around noon. The address I found led to an upscale business district, glass towers and expensive restaurants, men in suits and women in designer clothes walking with purpose. I did not belong here. That much was obvious. The building had no visible signage for Meridian Trust. It was sleek and modern, all glass and steel. The only indication I was in the right place was a small brass plaque by the door. MT Private Advisors. By appointment. I looked at my reflection in the glass. Wrinkled clothes, no makeup, exhausted eyes. I looked homeless, desperate, out of place. I almost turned around, almost gave up. But then I touched the card through my shirt, felt its solid weight against my chest. "Please let this work," I whispered. I pushed through the heavy glass doors. The interior was impossibly elegant. Marble floors polished to a mirror shine. Original artwork on the walls. Fresh orchids on every surface. Soft classical music playing from hidden speakers. The temperature was perfect. Not too warm, not too cold. Everything designed to convey wealth and exclusivity. The reception desk was made of polished mahogany. Behind it sat a woman with silver hair and an impeccable suit. Her nameplate read, Eleanor Vance Client Relations. Eleanor's professional smile faltered slightly when she saw me. I could see her taking in my appearance. The wrinkled clothes, the unwashed hair, the desperate look in my eyes. "Good afternoon," she said, her tone carefully neutral. "Do you have an appointment?" "No," I said. My voice was shaking. "But I have this." I pulled the card from the pouch around my neck. My hands trembled as I placed it on the counter. Eleanor picked it up. Her expression changed instantly. The professional courtesy vanished. In its place was something I did not expect. Shock. She examined the card closely, turned it over, held it up to the light. Her face went pale. "One moment, please," she said. She picked up the phone and spoke quietly. "Mr. Ashford, you need to come to reception immediately." "Yes, right now. It is a legacy card. Series 7. She hung up and looked at me with a completely different expression. Respect mixed with bewilderment. "Ma'am, please have a seat," she said. "Someone will be with you shortly. Can I get you anything? Water, coffee?" I was too confused to respond. I just nodded and sat down in one of the plush leather chairs. What was happening? Why did the card cause such a reaction? Within 3 minutes, the elevator doors opened. A man in his 60s emerged. Silver hair at his temples. An expensive suit that probably cost more than I made in a month. He walked directly toward me with urgency in his stride. Eleanor handed him the card. He examined it carefully. Looked at me. Looked at the card again. "Ma'am," he said, "I am Harrison Ashford, Managing Director. This card." "Where did you get it?" "My father gave it to me," I said. 21 years ago. Before he left. Harrison's eyes widened. He drew a sharp breath. "Your father's name, David," I said. "David Allen Reyes." Harrison's hand went to his chest. For a moment I thought he might collapse. "Oh my God," he whispered. He turned to Eleanor. "Clear my schedule for the rest of the day. No interruptions under any circumstances. And call the security team. I need the vault accessed." Then he turned back to me. His eyes were glistening with what looked like tears. "Ms. Reyes," he said softly, "you are alive. We have been searching for you for 4 years. Your father, there is so much you need to know. Please follow me." I stood up on legs that felt like jelly. This was not possible. They had been searching for me. My father, the man who abandoned me. What had I walked into? Harrison led me through the building to a private elevator. We rode in silence to the executive floor. I could feel him looking at me, studying my face. "You look like him," he finally said. The eyes especially. We emerged into a hallway lined with oil paintings and soft lighting. Everything screamed wealth and old money. He opened the door to a corner office with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the Scottsdale skyline. "Please sit," he said, gesturing to a leather chair. Can I get you anything? Water, something to eat. I need answers, I said. That is what I need. He nodded and took the seat across from me. For a long moment, he just looked at me. Then he spoke. David was my friend, he said. Not just a client. We worked together for 20 years. He was one of the finest men I have ever known. Mr. Ashford, I interrupted. My father abandoned my family 21 years ago. My mother said he left us for another woman. I have not heard from him since I was 10 years old. Harrison shook his head slowly. The sadness in his eyes deepened. Ms. Reyes, everything you were told was a lie. Your father did not abandon you. He gave up everything, including you, to protect you, and it killed him to do it. I do not understand, I said. What I am about to tell you will be difficult to hear, Harrison said. But you deserve the truth after all these years. He leaned forward. Let me tell you who David Reyes really was. Your father was a brilliant software engineer in the 1990s. He worked for a tech startup in Silicon Valley called Nexus Systems. The company was growing fast, making money. Everything looked promising. But David discovered something. The executives were committing massive fraud, embezzling from investors, cooking the books, stealing from employee pension funds, millions of dollars being funneled into offshore accounts. When David tried to report it internally, they threatened him. The CEO had connections to organized crime, real criminals, dangerous people. They told David to keep his mouth shut, or they would hurt his family, you and your mother. But your father was not the kind of man who could look the other way. He went to the FBI. He became a confidential informant. For months he helped them gather evidence, wore a wire, copied documents, risked his life every single day to bring those criminals down. Eventually, the FBI had enough. They arrested the executives. Multiple people went to prison. The company collapsed. It was one of the biggest corporate fraud cases of the decade. But the criminal connections put a price on your father's head. The people behind Nexus Systems wanted revenge. The FBI offered David witness protection, a new identity, a new life. He had a choice to make. He could bring you and your mother with him, but that meant you would all have to disappear forever. New names, new faces, never contact anyone from your old life again. You would have been 10 years old, ripped away from everything you knew, or he could leave alone, draw the danger away from his family. If the criminals thought he abandoned you, they would have no reason to use you as leverage. You and your mother would be safe. I stopped breathing. Your mother refused to go, Harrison continued. She did not believe the threats were real. She thought David was being paranoid. So David made the hardest decision of his life. He left alone. He staged his abandonment to make it look like he just walked out. And it worked. You and your mother were never targeted. But he could never contact you again. Any communication would put you at risk. So he watched from a distance. He protected you in the only way he could. My whole body was shaking. My mother's voice echoed in my head. He was a dreamer, a liar. He left us for another woman. All lies. Everything was lies. There is more, Harrison said gently. Your father lived in witness protection for 17 years. During that time, he could not access his money without revealing his location. But he had resources. Settlement funds from his cooperation with the FBI. Stock options from before Nexus collapsed. He invested them through us through Meridian Trust and instructed us to manage them quietly. When I die, he told me everything goes to my daughter. Give her the card before I leave. She will find you when she needs to. Harrison paused. His voice grew heavy. Your father died 4 years ago. Heart failure. He was in a small town under an assumed name. Alone. But his last words to the federal marshals were about you. Tell my daughter I love her. Tell her I never stop thinking about her. Tears were streaming down my face. I could not stop them. We have been trying to locate you since his death, Harrison said. Your mother moved several times, changed phone numbers. We could not find you without revealing the situation. We had to wait for you to come to us. He reached across the desk and touched my hand. And now, here you are. But I still did not understand. If my father left me money, how much could it possibly be? He was just a software engineer. Harrison turned to his computer. He typed for a moment, then turned the screen toward me. Your father's trust has been growing for over 20 years, he said, through strategic investments and compound returns. I looked at the number on the screen. I blinked. I looked again. $38,400,000. That is not possible, I whispered. It is real, Harrison said. Every penny, all legally yours. There are also properties, a cabin in Montana, a condo in San Diego, both purchased through the trust, both in your name, and significant stock holdings in 7 publicly traded companies. I started crying, not gentle tears, heaving, body-shaking sobs. 21 years of believing my father abandoned me. 21 years of anger and confusion and loneliness. All of it built on lies. He loved me. He protected me. He died loving me. Harrison handed me tissues. He waited patiently while I tried to compose myself. There is one more thing, he said. He left you a video message, recorded 6 months before he died. He wanted you to hear his voice, see his face. Harrison's voice softened. Would you like to watch it? I nodded. I could not speak. Harrison led me to a private viewing room. A large screen on one wall. Comfortable chairs. Tissues on every surface. Take as much time as you need, he said. I will be outside when you are ready. He closed the door behind him. I sat in the chair staring at the blank screen. My heart was beating so hard I could feel it in my throat. Then the screen flickered to life. And there was my father. He was older than I remembered. Gray hair where there had been black. Lines around his eyes. But his smile was the same. That gentle, warm smile I remembered from childhood. My beautiful Camila, he said. His voice broke my heart. If you are watching this, then you finally found Meridian Trust. And that means you needed help badly enough to try. I am so sorry that is what it took. I am also sorry I will not be there to see your face when you learn the truth. By the time you see this, I will be gone. But I need you to know what really happened. I did not leave because I stopped loving you. I left because I loved you too much to put you in danger. Every day for 21 years I have thought about you. Wondered what you look like now. Wondered if you are happy. Wondered if you hate me. You have every right to hate me. I missed your whole life. Your graduation, your first job, maybe your wedding. Things a father should be there for. I missed all of it, and there is no excuse that can make that okay. But I want you to know. I watched from a distance when I could. I have a photo of you from your high school graduation. Harrison got it for me. You wore a yellow dress and your hair was in braids. You looked so much like your mother when I first met her. I pressed my hand to my mouth. I remembered that dress. I remembered those braids. My mother had complained about how much the dress cost. I could not protect you in person, my father continued. So I protected you the only way I could. I built this for you. Every investment, every dollar, it was always for you. My way of being your father, even when I could not be there. Your mother. I know she told you things about me. Bad things. She was angry, and she had a right to be. I broke her heart when I left. She needed someone to blame, and I was an easy target. Do not hate her for the lies. She was hurting too. Camilla, whatever brought you to this point, whatever you are facing, I believe in you. You are stronger than you know. You have my stubbornness and your mother's fire. Use this money wisely. Build a life that makes you proud. Help others when you can. And know this. From the moment you were born until my last breath, you were the best thing I ever did. I love you, mi corazón. I always have. I always will. Your father, David. The screen went black. I sat in that room and cried until I had no tears left. I cried for the father I lost. I cried for the years we were robbed of. I cried for the 10-year-old girl who thought she was abandoned. And somewhere in those tears, something shifted inside me. 26 years of lies were unraveling. My mother had stolen my father from me. She had chosen bitterness over truth. She had let me believe I was worthless, unlovable, easy to leave behind. But my father had believed in me. He had prepared for me. He had loved me even when he could not be there. And I would honor that love. I wiped my face and stood up. Harrison was waiting outside, respectfully quiet. "What do I need to do?" I asked. "To access everything. To claim what is mine." His smile was warm. "Your father would be proud. Let me introduce you to our legal team." "But first, there is something urgent I need to tell you," I said. "My husband, my ex-husband, he is a criminal. He stole my identity. He ruined my credit. He locked me out of my home. I have nothing. No phone, no ID, nothing. And he is going to do more damage if I do not stop him." Harrison's expression hardened. "Tell me everything." Within an hour, a team had assembled in the conference room. A lawyer named Victoria Shaw, a private investigator, a security consultant. All of them listening intently as I explained what Marcus had done. Victoria was the first to speak. "This is textbook romance fraud and identity theft. We can pursue both criminal and civil remedies. First priority is securing your identity, freezing your credit. Second, we document everything he did. Third, we coordinate with law enforcement." The security consultant leaned forward. "We should also secure your physical safety. This Marcus person sounds dangerous. I recommend a temporary security detail until he is apprehended." The private investigator nodded. "I will start a background check on Marcus Webb immediately. Bet you anything that is not even his real name." Harrison placed his hand on my shoulder. "Your father built this firm on protecting our clients. You are not just a client. You are David's daughter. We are going to make this right." For the first time in days, I felt something I had almost forgotten. Hope. That night, Victoria arranged a suite for me at a luxury hotel in Scottsdale. A security guard was posted outside my door. I had a new phone, an emergency credit card linked to my trust account. I took a hot shower and let the water wash away the nightmare of the past week. I ordered room service and ate the first real meal I had in days. Then I lay in the clean, soft bed and held my father's card in my hands. "Thank you, Dad," I whispered. "I understand now. I forgive you. And I'm going to make you proud." 1 week later, the private investigator delivered his report. I was sitting in the Meridian Trust conference room with Victoria and Harrison when he spread the documents across the table. "Marcus Webb is not his real name," he said. "His real name is Martin Wesley Burke. He is 41 years old, not 35. He has a criminal record in 3 states: Florida, Texas, Nevada. Previous convictions for fraud, identity theft, and theft by deception." He paused to let that sink in. "You are his 6th known victim. He has a pattern. He targets vulnerable women, romances them, marries them, drains them. The sick grandmother at the hospital was probably an actress he paid $50. His real estate investment company does not exist. He uses the money he steals to fund a gambling addiction and an expensive lifestyle." Victoria picked up one of the documents. "He is currently living in your apartment. Already has a new woman visiting regularly. Based on the pattern, he is already targeting his next victim." I felt sick. But I also felt something else. Validation. I was not stupid for trusting him. He was a professional predator. This was his full-time job. He had fooled women smarter than me. Women with more resources. Women who never saw it coming. "The question is," Victoria said, "do you want criminal prosecution, civil lawsuit, or both?" "Both," I said without hesitation. "And I want to help his other victims. They deserve justice too." Victoria smiled. "I was hoping you would say that." The next 3 weeks were a whirlwind of preparation. Victoria coordinated with the Tucson Police Fraud Unit. A detective named Gabriel Ramirez took the lead on the investigation. The FBI got involved because Marcus had committed crimes across state lines. We gathered evidence, my recordings, financial records, victim statements. The investigator located 3 of Marcus's previous victims who were willing to testify. Denise from Florida. She lost $80,000. Patricia from Texas. She lost her home. Lily from Nevada. She lost her retirement savings. All 3 women had the same story. A charming man. A whirlwind romance. Complete betrayal. None of them had the resources to pursue him legally. I offered to fund their legal representation. He took everything from us, I told them. We deserved to see him pay. An arrest warrant was issued for Martin Wesley Burke. Multiple counts of identity theft, wire fraud, bank fraud, and theft. The federal charges alone carried up to 20 years in prison. The takedown was scheduled for a Friday morning. I did not need to be there, but I wanted to watch. I sat in an unmarked car across the street from my old apartment. Victoria was beside me, a pair of binoculars in my lap. At 7:30 in the morning, Marcus emerged from the building, heading to his car, probably planning another scheme. 3 police vehicles converged simultaneously. Officers surrounded him. "Martin Burke, you are under arrest." Marcus looked shocked, then panicked. He tried to run but was tackled immediately, handcuffed face down on the pavement. As they lifted him up, his eyes found me in the car. Recognition dawned. Then fury. He screamed at me. "You did this! You crazy woman! You are nothing. You have nothing." I rolled down the window slightly. "Actually, Martin, I said I have everything, including justice." The officers shoved him into the squad car. The door slammed shut. I exhaled a breath I'd been holding for weeks. It was over. The criminal case moved quickly. Marcus could not afford a good lawyer. The public defender was overwhelmed. He faced 27 counts across multiple jurisdictions. He pled guilty to avoid a trial, sentenced to 12 years in federal prison, plus restitution orders to all his victims. The civil case was also successful. My lawsuit recovered the assets he had hidden. About $62,000 in an offshore account. We distributed it among all his victims proportionally. I donated my share to a domestic violence organization. My credit was restored through fraud victim protections. The debt I never created was officially removed from my record. My identity was secured with monitoring services. The apartment he locked me out of was legally reclaimed. Though I never wanted to step foot in it again, I sold everything inside and donated the proceeds to victim advocacy. Clean slate, finally. But I was not finished. I met Denise, Patricia, and Lily in person. 4 women bound by a shared nightmare. We shared our stories over dinner, cried together, laughed together, and we started something new. A support group for romance fraud victims. We called it Second Chance Sisters. We met monthly, shared resources and encouragement, helped identify warning signs for others. Patricia looked at me one evening and said, "You gave us our power back." Lily nodded. For the first time, I do not feel stupid. Denise squeezed my hand. We are not victims anymore. We are survivors. And I realized something. My pain had a purpose. I could help prevent others from suffering the same fate. This became my mission. 6 months after finding Meridian Trust, I finally visited my father's cabin in Montana. The town was called Whitefish, a small community near Glacier National Park. Mountains rising in every direction. Pine trees as far as the eye could see. Air so clean it almost hurt to breathe. The cabin was modest. 3 bedrooms, a wraparound porch, views of the mountains that made my heart ache with their beauty. Harrison had arranged for a caretaker to maintain it all these years. An elderly man named George, who had been paid in advance for 26 years. "Mr. Whitmore told me his daughter would come someday," George said. I always believed him. Inside the cabin, I found pieces of my father's hidden life. Books he had read, music he had listened to, art he had collected, small things that revealed who he had become during his exile. In the nightstand drawer, I found his journal. Years of entries. many of them about me. Camila would be 18 today. I wonder if she graduated high school. Heard Sandra passed away. Could not go to the funeral. Too risky. I hope Camila has found happiness. That is all I ever wanted for her. Each entry broke my heart and healed it at the same time. He thought about me every single day. He never forgot me. He never stopped loving me. I sat on his favorite chair on the porch and watched the sun set over the mountains. He had watched for 17 years. I felt his presence somehow, his spirit in this place. I forgive you, Dad, I said aloud. I understand now why you did what you did. I am going to live a life that honors your sacrifice. I decided to keep the cabin, to visit regularly, my sacred space to connect with the father I lost. 9 months after discovering the truth, I established the David Reyes Memorial Foundation. Our mission was helping victims of financial exploitation, fraud victims, identity theft survivors, elderly people targeted by scammers. We provided legal assistance, credit recovery help, counseling services, and educational programs teaching financial literacy and scam recognition. We partnered with Second Chance Sisters for romance fraud-specific support. In our first year, we helped 218 individuals and families. I hired Victoria Shaw as the Foundation's legal director. I hired Patricia, one of Marcus's former victims, as our outreach coordinator. I gave jobs to people who understood the pain firsthand. Local news did a story on the foundation. I shared my story publicly for the first time. I was not ashamed of being a victim. I was proud of being a survivor. The interview went viral. Donations poured in. Other survivors reached out wanting to help. My father's money had transformed into a legacy of healing. 1 year after finding Meridian Trust, Harrison helped me locate my father's relatives. David had a younger sister named Isabel. She was 62 years old now, living in San Diego with her family. She had known the truth about David's disappearance. She had been sworn to secrecy by the FBI. She could not contact us. The hardest thing I ever did was pretend my brother did not exist, Isabel told me when we first met. When the FBI told me he died, I could not even go to his grave. I have prayed every day that you would find us. She looked so much like my father. The same eyes, the same smile. When she hugged me, I felt like I was hugging a piece of him. I met her children too, my cousins Ramon and Elena. They welcomed me immediately. Prima, they said. Finally. Isabel hosted a family dinner at her house. Mexican food that my father had loved. Stories about his childhood. Photos I had never seen. I learned about grandparents who died before I was born. Aunts and uncles who remembered David as a boy. A whole history that had been stolen from me. You have family now, Camila Isabel said. We lost so many years, but we have the rest of our lives. For the first time since childhood, I understood what belonging felt like. I was not looking for romance. After Marcus, I was terrified of trusting anyone again. I went to therapy, worked through my issues, learned to recognize healthy patterns versus manipulation. But sometimes love finds you when you are not looking. At a foundation fundraiser 6 months ago, I ran into Detective Gabriel Ramirez, the officer who had led the investigation against Marcus. He was there volunteering, believed in the cause. We talked for hours. No pretense, no games. He knew my story, knew my wealth, treated me exactly the same. I liked you before I knew about the money, he told me later. I like you because you are strong and kind, because you turned your pain into purpose. We are taking things slow. Both of us have been hurt before, but it feels different than anything I have experienced. Real, honest, built on truth instead of lies. Whatever happens, I know I can trust my own judgment now. 9 months after the divorce was finalized, I was having dinner with Gabriel at a restaurant in Boston, and Marcus walked in. He was with another young woman. He looked older, haggard, less polished than before. I had heard through contacts that his business was struggling, his reputation destroyed, investors pulling out. partners distancing themselves. He spotted me across the room, hesitated, then walked over. "Camilla," he said, "you look well. This is Sophie." Sophie looked uncomfortable. She clearly knew the history. I remained calm. "Hello, Marcus. I hope you are doing well." His face twisted. "You destroyed my reputation." Gabriel stood up. "I think you should go back to your table." Marcus ignored him. "Who is this?" Already moved on. I looked him directly in the eyes. "Marcus, I did not destroy anything. You did. The fraud was your choice. The lies were your choice. The affair with my life was your choice. I just refuse to be a victim of your choices anymore." I paused. "I genuinely wish you well, but this conversation is over." He stood there for a moment speechless. Then Sophie tugged his arm and they left. Gabriel sat back down. "Are you okay?" I realized something in that moment. I felt nothing. No anger, no satisfaction, no pain. Just neutrality. Marcus was part of my past, not my present, and definitely not my future. This morning I'm sitting on the porch of my father's cabin in Montana. Coffee in my hands, mountains glowing in the sunrise. It has been 2 years since I stood in the rain with nothing but an old card and a desperate prayer. Everything is different now, but in some ways, everything is the same. I am still Camila, still the girl who fought for everything she had. The money did not change who I am. It just gave me freedom to become who I was meant to be. I think about my father often. I keep his letter framed by my bedside. I read it when I need strength. He prepared for me even though he could not be there. He loved me even when he could not show it. Love does not end with death. It transforms. Here is what I have learned through all of this. Your worth is not determined by anyone else's opinion of you. Marcus told me I was nothing without him. My mother told me my father was nothing. Both were lies designed to control me. The truth was always waiting. I just had to find the courage to discover it. Sometimes the people who hurt us are the ones who should have loved us best. My mother was supposed to protect me. Instead, she robbed me of my heritage. Marcus was supposed to be my partner. Instead, he made me his victim. Learning to trust again is hard. But not trusting means not living. Money does not buy happiness, but it buys freedom. Freedom to leave situations that harm you. Freedom to build a life on your own terms. Freedom to help others who are struggling. My father understood this. That is why he left the inheritance. Family is not just blood. It is choice. I lost my mother to her own bitterness. I found family in my father's relatives who welcomed me home. I built family with friends who stood by me. The family that matters is the one that shows up. If you are watching this and you are at your lowest point, if someone took everything from you and you feel like nothing is left, remember my story. I walked into that bank with an old card and empty pockets. I walked out with millions and a father's love finally understood. But the real treasure was not the money. It was discovering I was worthy of being protected, worthy of being loved, even from a distance, even in silence. You are worthy too. Sometimes rock bottom is just the starting point for everything you were meant to become. So here's my question for you. Have you ever discovered a truth about your past that changed everything you believed? Have you ever found out that someone you thought abandoned you was actually protecting you? Or have you ever had to rebuild your entire life from nothing? I would love to hear your stories in the comments below. Your experiences might help someone else who is going through something similar right now. If this story touched you, please hit that like button. It helps more people find these videos. And if you want to hear more stories about resilience and second chances, subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. Share this video with someone who needs to hear that their story is not over yet. That rock bottom can be a beginning, not an end. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being part of this community. I am sending you strength and hope wherever you are in your journey. Remember, the card that changes everything might already be in your hands. You just have to find the courage to use it. Until next time, take care of yourselves. And never stop believing that better days are coming.